My Lords, during the speech of my noble friend Lord Hunt of Wirral, I carefully watched the Labour benches, and when he made some criticisms of the government, moderate criticisms of the government, he faced what I think might be described as a certain degree of genteel barracking. What I didn't see on the faces of those on the Labour benches opposite was any suggestion or hint of apology. An apology, first of all, for rushing this legislation through Parliament with practically no scrutiny when it or something like it must have been foreseeable in recent weeks. No apology at all for the policies chosen to implement net zero that have included ramping up the price of electricity to an unprecedented level and one that has no comparison in similar economies, as explained with such patience by my noble friend Lord Howell of Guildford. No apology for the incompetence of their negotiations. An insight into their negotiating ability has already been given to us in relation to the Chagos Islands, and now we see something similar happening again in relation to the steel industry. And no apology for their resultant decision recently to block the domestic mining of coal fit for coking. This is no way, my Lords, to treat Parliament, no way to treat our industrial sector, and no way to treat the workers and their families who are involved. Now, I accept that there may be a case for extraordinary measures in the case of steel production for the reasons set out, I thought, quite well by the noble Lord Tunnicliffe in relation to defence and the needs of our industry more broadly. What I'm not persuaded of is the assertion that steel is somehow exceptional. There may be a case for that, but as the noble Lord Carr of Kinlochard has pointed out, the case needs to be made, and so far the government has done nothing but assert it, and even the speech just now of the noble Baroness Lady Drake did nothing but assert what is so special about steel. What about other industries that are under threat from high electricity prices? What about glass? What about chemicals? What about cars? What about concrete? Does the government have a plan? Are these extraordinary measures that we're taking today part of a strategy, or are they simply the result of panic? Turning to the bill itself, it is remarkable. It is not, in fact, nationalisation, as the noble lady, the Minister, was keen to point out. It is, in some ways, almost worse. It is the confiscation and control of a private company, for whatever reasons, with no safeguards and no sunset clause, as things currently appear, though who knows, one may be inserted in the bill before it completes its passage. I conclude with a question, which I think illustrates the sort of the rush with which the bill has been prepared. In Clause 3, subsection 4a, the bill allows the Secretary of State to enter the premises using force if necessary. I'm just curious to know whose force he is going to use. He does not have a force at his own disposal. The bill does not give him powers to direct police forces to enter the premises. The bill creates no provision that I can see whereby he can apply to the court for something that would allow bailiffs to operate. But I'd simply like to know, as a practical matter, how is the Secretary of State going to exercise this power to use force if necessary, should the owners of the factory choose to close the doors in his face?